Hi, family. Welcome back to Shine In and Out, the space where science meets soul. I'm your host, Sammy Stoltz, and I'm here to help you bridge the gap between the biology that drives you and the mindset that empowers you. Today, I'm joined by the incredible Brian Parana, an elite fitness performance coach whose specialty is helping driven individuals optimize their health from the inside out. Brian has helped countless people go beyond quick fixes to create sustainable results through intelligent training, metabolic mastery, and lifestyle alignment. We're going to explore the real science of fat loss, energy, and metabolic health, and bust a few myths along the way. If you've ever wondered how your physiology, your daily choices, and your mindset all come together to shape your health, this episode is for you. Beautiful souls, I just wanted to take a quick pause in this conversation to invite you to something special. I'm building a community. Right now it's starting as a group on Facebook, and it is called the Shine In and Out Community. And it's a space for like-minded people who are ready to grow, to be real and vulnerable, and to support one another in becoming healthier and happier every day. It's not about pretending we have it all figured out. It's about being vulnerable, sharing the wins and the struggles, and walking the journey together. My vision is that this community becomes more than just a group online, that we rethink social media and in-person interactions, and one day when you see the Shine In and Out symbol, whether it be a piece of jewelry, a sticker, a pin, or some form of attire, you'll know that you've spotted someone else who's ready and on the same path, open-hearted, like-minded, and committed to growth. So if you've been craving a space to share your story, get encouragement, and give encouragement, I'd love to see you there. Just search for the Shine In and Out community on Facebook and join us. We can't wait to have you. All right, Brian. As we're jumping in, I just would like to know a little bit about you, your story. How'd you get to where you are today?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Samantha. It's very exciting to be on here, add a lot of value and insights and all sorts of things, get people to do the things that they probably already
Yes.
know they should be doing.
Yeah.
Now, who's Brian? What is he doing? What's going on over here? Well, I always love the Rocky Balboa training montages, right? Dun 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 dun, dun right? All that you just start getting energy, and training is just for my whole life. I've just really enjoyed training, and this is one of the earliest memories where I connect the dots of training being a positive, exciting, enjoyable thing. And throughout just youth, I was in baseball, basketball. I got into track and cross country, and then that transformed into actually my career in health and fitness. Certainly talk a lot about that. Who's Brian on the personal side? I'm 42 years young. I married my high school sweetheart. We're 19 years in. We have 4 kids, 2 in high school, 2 in middle school, 3 boys and a girl. I now have a chauffeur, which is actually nice because I was always doing the driving, and now I can do things while my oldest son drives. I love exercising, but even more important, our family loves to travel. A really
Uh,
unique things that sets us a little bit apart from a lot of people is we've been to all 50 states, and we're
hmm,
touring all 7 continents as well. Multiple
wow.
countries along the way. So we have three Asia, South America, Antarctica, and Australia. So we have 4 more continents to go, and
Wow.
that, well, ideally in the next, say, 4 to 5 years.
Okay. I went to
So there
Australia
you go.
last year and New Zealand.
All right.
Awesome. How do you guys make time for
Yeah.
that? Is it like summer for school and
It's
stuff like that?
part of whenever my wife is a travel advisor, and she plans epic bucket list type trips for people,
Wow.
and she is so good at it, and she carves out time in the schedule. She sees these windows between school weekends and holidays and such, and next thing you know, we're booked on a flight. She says she'll send me a text, I found a deal. Oh, you did? Okay. Where are we headed to this time? And it's a real the bonding experience, the connections,
Totally.
the stories, the culture that my 10-year-old daughter has experienced. We celebrated her 10th birthday in Paris. So it's a
Oh,
really
wow.
awesome. We love it.
That's incredible. I
It's
actually
a
just did
priority.
an episode on the power of travel and how it can shape you with
Yeah.
your self-efficacy, self-trust, all of those
Yeah.
beautiful things. So I love to
Yeah.
hear that. I'm trying to plan a solo trip of my
Yeah.
own, so I might
Ooh.
hit her up for my bucket list.
She can plan it and get some really adventure, right? That's
I
really
love
what
it.
we do. One thing before we move on, but
Mhm.
the thing that I've taken away from travel, since you just did
Yeah,
a
please.
show on it, is that every person, every country, continent, the takeaway that I've seen is that people want to be happy. They want to live
Yes.
joyful lives. They want to experience the world in its best form, and that's what I have experienced. And it sounds like just how you agreed that that's what you've experienced when you travel too. It's not a different language, different colors, different cultural backgrounds. Humans as a whole want to live a happy, healthy, joy-filled life.
Exactly. It's the whole human experience. We all have the same emotions. We want to be loved. We want to be
Yep.
happy. We want to have
Yep.
purpose and feel understood.
Yes.
And anytime, even before I traveled abroad, just understanding that even the people that rub you the wrong way, it's hard not to have compassion because all they want is to be happy,
Right.
even if they're maybe pursuing it in the wrong ways so
Yes.
far.
Yes. Yeah, they're pursuing it wrong, or there might be a reason why they're pursuing it wrong. For we can go on for that, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I love that. Well, since we're here to talk about health and we're fellow
Yeah.
biohackers, your coaching
Yes.
approach seems it's deeper than eat less, move more. So, could you walk us through
Yes.
how you assess someone's metabolism and design their plan?
Yeah, definitely. First and foremost, in general, that's how you change your body. Most people are just overeating, and because of food choices or behavior patterns or lifestyles, they are unaware because of just shifty marketing. In a sense, right? Hey, this product says it's healthy, Brian.
Oh
Well, did
man.
you turn it over and look at what the ingredient list or the calories, the protein, carbs, and fats are? And they say no. Turn it over and let's look at that part of the package to evaluate if it is actually true or not. Because healthy is a very subjective word, and you can ask 10 people, 100 people, and you're going to get a different answer.
So true.
So, well, how do we start to evaluate how someone actually changes their health, their fitness, their body weight, and not only change it now and in the next couple weeks or months of working together, but sustainably? That is so important. We have to
Yeah.
first approach nutrition as a whole. If someone doesn't understand what calories or macronutrients are, then they don't understand the currency of food. And whereas say we understand the currency of say US dollars of say the US economic, it's dollars and cents. And if you spend money, then it leaves your bank account and goes to wherever you're putting it to purchase the good or service or whatnot. And so we understand that a dollar is a dollar and a penny is 1 cent. But calories and macronutrients are how you speak in terms of nutrition and food choice and food combination and timing of food and portion control and how do we fit it into the day, even if it is super busy, and how do we have plan Bs for these busyness because
Yeah.
something's going to happen. And so you can already tell that's where I start with people. We start with basic foundations of what nutrition is and build off of that. Because if we have the understanding of the foundations and the basic principles, we can then apply them in no matter whatever situation it is. And I've been doing this for over 23 years, thousands and thousands of conversations. What matters most is understanding that people have a choice in this. They then understand the consequences to their choices, whether it be a good consequence. Hey, I ate an apple for a snack instead of a donut, right? That's going to have a more positive outcome as a consequence, or the vice versa, where there's a negative consequence. Oh, you had a donut today. That's not good or bad. They're not good carbs, bad carbs. It's just simple carbohydrates with more simple carbohydrates, right? Dough, sugar, and you have your fat, but it's fried in. Okay. You had the donut, it's about 300 calories on average. How are you going to change your approach for the rest of the day to fit that in? That's a very first initial part of the conversation that we need to have. So we got all that stuff. And then let's talk about, say, calories or how do we get the, say, fat loss to happen? Well, in general, we have our basal metabolic rates. We've got your activity levels. We've got how long you're up, how your fitness history. Meaning, what have you been doing for the last 5 years? That's an important question to understand and know to get better guide this person in their athletic or movement endeavors moving forward in the process. Generally, we'll just throw some numbers out, but these are just ballpark. Women usually start 1,700 calories or lower if they're in a fat loss phase. And then men were usually definitely under 2,000 usually, and it will go down based on all those factors. And that's a basic starting point. But I always stress, coming from the very first coaching call with them, is it's not about the exact calories or macronutrients or meal plan or whatever coming out in the first 3 to 5 days. It's, did you look at that nutrition label? Did you measure out that food? Do you even have food in your house and go to the grocery store to get this stuff? So those lifestyle behavior patterns are going to be so much more important in establishing healthy, long-term sustainable progress.
Totally. It's one thing to try to start a habit, but to become the habit is how to keep it sustainable. So
yeah,
I also think a lot about the non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
yes,
because people don't realize.
Oh my gosh,
how
I'm
big of an
standing right
effect.
now.
Yeah.
Yep.
People don't realize. Like, oh, taking the stairs.
Neat.
Yeah, but it builds up over time.
Yes, yeah, it's a momentum builder. I love the 10K steps. I think that is just a good, easy way to assess I'm an active person, right? It's a blanket statement that most people would identify with. Yes, oh, you do 10K steps a day? Okay, yeah, they move their bodies. And it doesn't have to be planned exercise. It could just be me fidgeting and moving and doing all these things with my body as we sit here and talk. So super important. I want to throw one real quick thing in about the habit thing is how long does it take to form a habit, Samantha? How long?
I believe 40 days.
Well, if you deem it to take 40 days, then guess what? It will. It'll take as long as you allow it. Right? We have these principles of time of you get the things done in the amount of time that you allow for that thing to get accomplished. So it could take 40 days, it could take 90, it could take 2. I always like referencing this one. It's a little challenging. Hey, get diagnosed with lung cancer. You're probably going to stop smoking immediately, right?
Hopefully.
So habits and behavior, hopefully, right? Fingers crossed. And that's or get in a car accident. You might have that thing, or go to the doctor and get a blood test, come back, and you're at a 9 point something A1C. Hopefully, that would be enough to cause the shift in the habits and behaviors to form new habits quickly. So I just want to throw that out there for everyone listening. It can take a day. You could do cold turkey and just go straight into lifestyle behavior changes, or you could say it takes 21 days or 40 days or 3 months. And certainly some things might be a lot harder to unwind, say nighttime snacking behavior and habits, things like that, or say smoking. Every time I go to this space, I always want a cigarette. Well, let's remove the trigger. Never go back to that space, and you're going to be less likely to want to smoke. So there you go. I just want to point that out because you did bring it up, and I thought it'd be a great insight for people.
Yeah,
you don't have
that
to
is a
take
great insight.
however long.
I love that. Absolutely. It's so interesting that it's the power of the brain, whether or not you're ready to make the change. And you can do it in a day if you're ready to do it in a day. But if you're kind of subconsciously telling yourself that you can't do it, you're not going to be able to do it.
Right.
But it's only because you're stopping yourself. One thing that I see a lot of people doing that I don't consider to be the right way to do things is eating as little as possible, like minimal calories. Even I met somebody who was fasting for like a month straight, and I was like, it's scary to me because when you talk about the basal metabolic rate, that's the energy that your body needs to perform properly, like for your organs to work.
Do everything every day.
Yeah. So it's not, and I'm always cautioning my friends against going beneath that because obviously you're not going to feel good. You're going to be exhausted and you're not going to be able to exercise either. So I'm hoping you can give a little wisdom on how we can encourage people to choose the right window of calories.
Yes. Now, I will always tell my clients we're going to eat as many calories as we can to lose weight. Because why eat 1,200 calories a day? Because the internet said so. or ladies, or 1,500 for men as an example. Those are obviously pretty low numbers. Then secondly, most of the people don't have skill sets to manage a lower calorie level. They just think I'm going to have a banana for breakfast. There's a lot more strategy that you can put into what you eat in your first meal a day that will sustain energy, sustain metabolism, sustain fullness, blood sugar levels than maybe just a banana might, and will help you manage your calories a bit more to get into that fat loss. Everybody wants to lose weight now or yesterday. Well, John, Sally, whatever your name is over there, why did you gain 40 pounds then? Right? Basic sustainable weight loss is going to be 1 to 2 pounds a week, right? Everyone knows that. 3 is amazing. 4 or more is we're doing something kind of odd. And even in our age of the semaglutides and such, and even we go back to the semaglutide is we could say the most promising out of all the weight loss things that have happened in the last 30 years or 40 years. But also there's so many risks and different things that you really have to understand what it is. And also remember, it's a medication for diabetes, not just to lose 10 pounds. And if that's why you're taking it, then you need to maybe reassess some of your simple behaviors that are showing up in your life, because that's not the solution. I don't believe if you had a 9-point A1C, you're 50, 80 pounds overweight, and you need to make that change to get healthier quickly, then that could be an option. Now, people do seek that for us. So we go off, say 40 pounds, 1 pound a week, that's 40 weeks to take you to get to that weight loss. 2 pounds a week is 20 weeks. But in our brain, if we can rethink the whole process of losing those said 40 pounds or 20 pounds, or enter whatever number it is, the person listening in right now, if you just add an extra 2 to 3 months on top of that, then we can start to see an actual real sustainable timeline for you to achieve, accomplish, and maintain long-term afterwards, because all of this is an acquisition of skills, acquisition of changing your lifestyle and behaviors, acquisition of the way you think, acquisition of maybe different social circles. People don't think about that, but if you're always hanging out with say I'm going to go out for burgers and beer, or the ladies going out for a margarita or whatever, then maybe even just your situation is always around food, maybe you can shift it to activity. I rode my bike with my son today to spend time. I have 3 close friends that we work out together to use our time to talk, to connect, to tell jokes, to just be silly, or to vent even, right? And because humans need to connect with people, and exercise is the best way for us to do that. So we find each other through activity, and then we're able to actually foster a relationship because there's proximity of closeness. You guys are working, or gals are working through something challenging and pushing each other and encouraging each other. You show up for each other, and it builds this trust really fast. And then therefore you're able to just be a positive experience. You're excited about it, but you're more likely to not only do it, show up, but work harder in it as well. There's so many ways that this stuff starts to formulate here.
Absolutely. When you said that you were working out with your friends, I've been struggling because I've been so busy with everything, and I want to spend time with my friends. And I finally said, hey, do you want to go to the gym? Because I have to do that anyway.
Yes.
Like, that's something that is a non-negotiable for
That's
me.
a priority,
and
right?
We can do both at the same time and have time to catch up. And even going for a hike. I love taking my friends for a hike. And sometimes I like to go alone just for self-reflection time. But,
well, of course,
you can have both. But one thing that you said stood out is the maintaining, because the GLP-1s, yes, they work their magic, but people don't change their habits and their lifestyle. And
also sometimes
either
they don't.
they're on it forever, or as soon as they get off of it, they gain it back or more, because they've been restricted so much that their thyroid and their hormones, their hunger hormones,
muscle mass.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yep. Yeah, that's one thing with, say, the GLP-1s. We'll just throw it out because a lot of people are going to that first now. I've seen a shift in my business, and people are coming to me after they've been taking it because it's being heavily marketed to them, like 1,000%, right? It went from not even hearing about this stuff to you can get it for $45 a month or whatever through this provider, and they're white labeling it and all sorts of stuff. So it does slow down hunger, right? It quiets the food noise, presses appetite as one of the main mechanisms of a lot of different things. But as a result of it, we go into every other situation of extreme low calorie diets or the phetamine shot at your doctors or whatever. You're at high risk of losing muscle along the way. So instead
Yes.
of, say, in a controlled environment for fat loss and learning the things, behavior, habits, lifestyle, I always tell my clients that we're going to eat as many calories as we can. We're going to move our body to fuel fat loss primarily, and moving it will help preserve muscle mass along the way as best we can. And having a higher protein than you're probably used to diet will then more strategically allow it to be targeted as fat loss, not just
Hmm.
weight loss. Because if we could say out of this, the 40 pounds is, I guess, the number that we're going with today, but say out of 40 pounds, you only lost 5 or 8 pounds of muscle, which muscle, even on bodybuilders, high level elite bodybuilders will lose muscle mass and a cut for their
Hmm.
physique competition. So just want to throw that out there. It's a biological effect that happens when human beings are in a calorie deficit. Muscle is metabolically active tissue,
Yeah.
and it costs energy to survive, and your body will take that first before the fat stores, because it's what our evolutionary terms is speaking here. So we want to move it that way rather than just eating less, because the eating less then can mess up the potential for metabolic adaptation, and all of a sudden 1200 is no good anymore and you have to go to 1000 or 900 or 800. There's that stuff for sure. And then it challenges your relationship with food as well. So those are
Yeah.
some of the things to kind of think about. Just one more thing is, say, on a fad diet or the semaglutide, maybe it's, instead of that 5 pounds muscle loss, and ends up being 10 or 15 out of the 40 or more. I don't
Hmm.
know. We don't have enough data per se, or a longitudinal study to really play out what the effects are for 5, 10, 20 years of usage of these.
Absolutely. And listening to the scale is not the right thing to do always. I had a friend tell me that she
Not
started
always.
running and she stopped because her weight was going up. And I was like, your muscle weighs more than your fat. You're probably gaining muscle and losing fat. You know, think about
Uh-huh.
how you look, how you feel. And
Right.
especially when it comes to women, I think I'm happy to see that now there's more of a empowerment for women to have muscles and for insulin sensitivity, for everything, for bone density to do that load bearing activity. But I see a
Right.
lot of women, like in my parents' generation and my friends' parents, that see the GLP-1s as, oh, this is so easy, I'll just do that. But I'm always
Yes.
trying to educate
Yes.
them because muscle is so important for,
Right.
and you're supposed to be building more muscle
Hmm.
at the age because of your osteoporosis risk and everything.
Yes.
So I'm
Yes.
sure you feel the need to educate on that as well.
Yes, always do. Simple example I always use is Arnold Schwarzenegger. He isn't quite the Austrian oak he once was back in his prime, right? And muscle is falling off of us ever so much every year. And if you're doing something to exaggerate that or quicken that pace, what happens when you're 70 or 80? If you Lord willing, you make it through past your 80s, you want to be as functional as possible, not just getting pushed around in a chair because you don't have any muscle mass.
Yeah.
And also longevity, study after study have shown that the longer or the more muscle mass that you have on your body, you can physically live longer. That's a
Yeah.
natural biological trait for humans. So something to pay attention to is move your body and muscle building type activities to help foster not only a better scale weight, because it doesn't matter what it is, but when you have that a good muscle mass on there, then you look and feel better and you're stronger and you
Mhm.
can be as functional and everything that you want.
Totally. For the average person that's working, has a family, much
Yeah.
like you,
Yeah. 4
and
kids.
you're definitely busy. A lot of people use that excuse. I'm too busy to make time for the gym, or I'm too stressed. Well, first of all, the gym helps me with my stress very much.
Yes.
But I'm
Agreed.
curious how you see stress impacting your clients' results, even with the body composition and everything.
Will keep fat on you, whether it's through you stay up too long, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you just with technology, it's really easy to stay up till past midnight for sure. 1, 2 o'clock even. And you're like, oh, I got to get up for work the next day. Well, you're already taking a step back in that particular area on maximizing the opportunities you have for energy, for effective weight maintenance or fat loss skills. Under 6 hours, it's proven that it's an uphill battle to lose weight because the hormones and the stress and the lack of recovery on the body is just not happening. So we always have to adjust and leverage that piece there. So that's just one of many things that we need to address in this process of changing your body, changing your life, changing your habits and routines. So tough.
Yeah. I mean, the studies do show that the less sleep you get, the higher your ghrelin is, your hunger hormone, which people don't realize how powerful ghrelin is. It's that feeling that after you've restricted for so long that you feel like ravenous and you don't know why.
Yes.
That's your ghrelin.
Yes.
So
that is ghrelin.
Yes.
Speaking like a gremlin.
Yes. So I think about the goals of people, and especially with the metabolic things that you tout and teach, which is so important and becoming increasingly in the spotlight, which is great. I'm sure you teach people about the blood sugar and how to stabilize it and your insulin sensitivity and how important all of that is. So how do you help people implement that into their lifestyle?
Yes. One of the first things, again, going back to some of the basics around nutrition to help manage insulin levels, blood sugar levels, hormones in the body is humans need to eat enough food to get to the next time they're going to eat again. Very simple way to think about it. Most humans are going to go 3 to 5 hours before things start to get a little off the rails. What happens when they off the rails? Well, the ghrelin goes up and the gremlin comes out, and all of a sudden you're eating things that you had not even thought that you were going to put in your mouth, but they're there. So having balanced meals is so important. I think grandma said it right. We're going to have a protein, a vegetable, and a starch on a plate in a reasonable portion, and we're not going to have seconds. And that's it. That's how you do it. It's not hard. It's simple. It's just not easy because of marketing, because of food availability, food quality, your skill set or lack thereof around cooking or preparing or grocery shopping. Some people don't know how to grocery shop. Everyone says, grocery shopping is eating healthy is so expensive. I don't know about you, but the last time I checked, a silo of oatmeal that you could have one serving a day for a whole month for breakfast is about $5. There's 42,000 calories. Yeah, no, not 42,000. 4,200 calories, something like that. There you go. That's more realistic, right? We're not buying a pallet of oatmeal, but just the silo has over 4,000 calories. And if you turn that, it's a 30 serving at about 150 calories at a half a cup dry, which cooks into 1 cup cooked. That's $5.
Definitely
but
filling.
People are door dashing and spending $15 to get lukewarm food delivered to their house, and they're paying $20 some for a Big Mac meal. That's expensive. That is ridiculous.
Oh yeah. It's about the planning ahead. I've completely realized that, because if I get to the point where I'm so intent on eating healthy, but I hit a point where I'm hungry and I still have to cook the food, I'm looking at my pantry for a bar or something to hold me over, and then that's when it goes downhill. And I find that if I start with some form of sugar, I kind of go into a spiral because my body
gets more sugar.
Yes, absolutely. And what I tell my family members to do is to eat it in the right order, right? Like you have your fats, your proteins, and your fiber first, and then you can have your carbs, and you'll have an easier time with your spiking and all of that stuff. And they're just small changes that you can easily make, right? But people don't know.
And I have this protocol that I call the Simple Six. So everyone, write this down. The Simple Six. Well, first, I always pre-emphasize this. Water. We always have to drink water. 80 ounces for women, 100 ounces or more for men. Those are bare basic, low-hanging fruit that you can take care of yourself that's free. Okay. And that will also help keep you full. It'll help make you feel better. Your skin look better. You'll use the bathroom more regularly. You won't be bound up so much, all sorts of things, right? But the Simple Six of this, so calories are most important. There's a certain amount of calories you need in a day to maintain your goals, whether it's maintenance, muscle gain, or fat loss. Okay. So that's number one is calories. Number two is we want to prioritize protein. Okay. Fills you up, slows down digestion, helps balance out blood sugar levels, helps preserve muscle mass the entirety of your life, helps recover and rebuild when you're doing workouts or manual physical labor. You just moved a bunch, you did fall cleanup that's starting to come here, right? Or you're out in the summer right now cleaning the yard up and you're just like, oh, I moved all this and I'm sore. Well, we want some protein. So that's the second one. The third one is the fibrous carbs, your vegetables and your fruits, the things that have lots of fiber. So calories, protein, fiber. When we're paying attention to those, we can really maintain blood sugar levels throughout the day in a lot more reasonable amounts. So the sugar monster doesn't pop out of nowhere and go boo. And then all of a sudden, you're scared yourself into eating 5 more Oreos. Then from there, we have conscious or limit fat. We want to limit the fat. Fat's good. It's great for hormonal health. It tastes really good, but it's a calorie multiplier. There are 9 calories in a gram of fat, 4 in a protein and a carb. We have to just be conscious. The oil that you're pouring into your pan does have calories in it, people. The small scoop of nuts might be 100 calories or more if you're not paying attention. Little bit of peanut butter you put on that sandwich or whatnot, or on that piece of apple could be 200 calories.
That's very true. Serving size is very important when it comes to fats, for sure.
Yes. So we want to limit fats. Then we want to be conscious of the carbs because they're everywhere and they're always, especially with busy life, a lot of family, just busyness and work, whatever. Carbs are going to show up all over the place, and it's really easy to consume the higher calorie ones, right? The ones that always from the night, and whenever someone says, I just stopped eating pastas, breads, and rice, things like that. So you're stuck in the 90s dieting mentality. Okay, I just need to know where you're at. So we want to be conscious of those and not overeat. And then we want to eliminate simple sugars. Sure, we can have a sweeter treat there, but if you just look at our food source and the availability of sugar, it's tremendous. You can go to one of many gas stations that are around you, buy 100,000 calories relatively cheaply, but it's all going to be simple wheat, sugar, sodium, oil-based type foods that are cheap, easy to produce, really ultra-processed, tasty foods that will get you in trouble with your belly, with your blood sugar levels, with a lot of other health issues as well. So that's the simple 6.
Absolutely. I love that. And like you said, especially at the gas station and places like that, people see things and they're like, oh, that's healthy. Let me grab that. And I'm very much, especially if I have a long drive ahead of me, I don't want a blood sugar sudden drop. So I'm always very conscious. And it's very hard to find a good choice at a gas station. It is. It's usually just a bag of nuts that are just salted, not honey roasted or whatever. But even then, they use the vegetable oils and all of that. And so even when it says it's healthy, it's like, yeah, maybe in moderation, but if your omega-6s are so far ahead of your omega-3s, then you're going to have inflammation, you're going to have pain. And
yes, you will.
There's so many just small things that people don't understand, and we want them to, right? So what are some misconceptions about metabolism or training or general human health that you wish people would understand?
Yeah. Well, let's go with the nutrition first. A misconception is that I'm just not going to eat or fast or whatever. Most humans that I've ever worked with are going to eat 3 to 4 times a day. Doesn't matter when they start. No. Do I have to eat breakfast? Not. Well, if we just want to break that word down, breakfast, breaking the fast. Everyone eats breakfast, whether you go by McDonald's rules of 10:30 or earlier, or you just eat at whatever your first meal is. We're breaking the fast. It's meal number 1. So if we can change the, say, terminology of how we think about what our, in quotations, meal is called, that changes the context and this framework of protein first and a balanced bite meal of where's the protein, where's the fiber. Those 2 questions will strategically allow you to put pick out and put those foods on your plate first. And those, again, we go back to the order as you had brought up of eating. If you are strategic, then sure, you could finish with a scoop of ice cream or a small square of singular chocolates. The Ghirardelli squares are only 70 calories. They're premium chocolate, and you can have one and be satisfied with it and just be satisfied. And it's okay. You just need one. You don't need 3.
Yeah, especially if you
Right.
filled up with all the satiating stuff first. Well, if you're anything like me, you have a cabinet full of pills that you told yourself you were going to take every day to make your body happy, super healthy, and inevitably you get sick of taking so many pills and avoid them altogether. So I'm done with that BS, and that's why I created Biosync, where the only BS is biological synchronicity. The idea is simple. It's one morning drink and one before bed. And with those 2, you've given your body everything that it needs to reset, refuel, and thrive. The morning Biosync is designed to wake up your biology, not just your brain, and it supports your mitochondria. It works well with your cortisol clock, with nutrients that enhance focus, stabilize blood sugar, and fight inflammation. So you start the day with clean, steady energy. And the nighttime Biosync is the counterbalance. Instead of stimulation, it works with your nervous system to bring cortisol down, to regulate circadian rhythms, and support deep restorative sleep. There are adaptogens to calm stress, minerals to replenish what your body used throughout the day, and gentle botanicals to guide you into recovery mode so that you wake up actually restored. Most wellness routines are complicated with dozens of supplements and rituals. Biosync was built to be the opposite. One drink in the morning, one at night, with everything you need and nothing that you don't. I spent so many years trying to find the perfect solution, the perfect drink that had it all. But you have a greens drink, you have a protein drink, and you have a meal replacement drink, but never all of the above. So here I bring to you Biosync in 2 simple rituals that keep your body aligned. Coming soon.
Yeah, it takes about 15, 20 minutes to start feeling full. And by that point, and if you strategically drink water beforehand or throughout, and protein and vegetables and a little bit of starch, and then have a little bit of room, 100 calories would be a reasonable dessert. Most people want to do 400 or 500 for that. So that's a misconception of say labeling my food times in a day, because if I say the word snack, Samantha, what do you think? What's the first thing off your brain that you want to eat if it's snack time?
100%. Something like a vanilla wafer, something like that.
Yes, right.
Cheetos. You know, I don't eat any of that
Yes.
anymore, but that is what comes to mind as the yummy snack that I would wish for. And I love you mentioning hydration.
Exactly.
Because I carry around my jug all day and I'm like known for it, and it's hilarious.
Here's mine.
Yeah.
Speak of the jug.
There you go. Yeah, I've got a half
ounces.
gal. She's nice and pink.
Yes.
And she's got a pocket, so she's my purse. I just put her on my shoulder and go
There
about
you
my
go.
day.
2 for 1. Awesome.
Yeah, but I completely feel a difference when I don't drink enough water.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm just sensitive to my body, like I know what's going on, but if I don't drink enough the day before, I wake up the next morning and I'm more achy, tense. My muscles feel like they're not as hydrated. Like I can feel the difference. And I think people live in that and don't know that that's where their discomfort is coming from.
Right.
It's wild.
Yeah. I love this as an example. I share a lot with people to get them to visualize it. So everyone, if you're listening, close your eyes, think of a juicy filet. Oh, it's a supple, juicy, it's squishy, right? Tastes so good. Then the opposite side of that is beef jerky. It's stiff, rigid, ropey, hard to bend. And what's the difference between that muscle tissue is hydration. And if you're not doing something that's free, basically, to keep up on your water and hydration, then you're going to have beef jerky in your legs or your back. No wonder your back's a little sore, because every time you just bend it to the left a little bit, it's just like you're pulling on some tight muscle. One more other example of the hydration is, I love saying this, water to the body is like oil to a car. What happens when there's not enough oil in a car? We have friction, and friction is not good in a combustible engine. It will seize up. Do you want your body seizing when it doesn't have enough water in it? And there's just so many things of the achiness or the skin care or just the way you feel or your joints and all this stuff. People walk around like SpongeBob in the Sahara Desert.
Yeah, that parallel I really like. And I often talk about volume eating and how powerful it can be. Like if you're eating
Yes.
foods that have hydration in them, you're going to get full so
Yeah.
much more quickly. Say
Yeah.
say I'm at a restaurant and everybody's ordering dessert. I'll be like, "Hey, can I get some berries?" Like so that I don't feel left out.
Yes.
I'm enjoying it
Right.
thoroughly
Right.
and I'm having a nice berry. It's going to make me completely full. I'm not going to have room for anything
Right.
after that, especially after a nice meal. And
Right.
a lot of
And a cup
people,
of berries is 70 calories.
yeah, yeah,
So
versus
it
a
works.
freeze-dried fruit, for example. It's, yes, you're still
Oh,
having a fruit and
yeah.
that's great, but you're not going to be as full. You're not going to be as satisfied. And so I do encourage people to eat the
Calories
real fruit
multiply in
instead.
those things too, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Oh, it's so easy. It's like
A
fairy
handful of
dust.
raisins is going to be
Yeah,
150, 200. A handful of grapes, maybe you're at 50, 60. Yeah. Big
exactly.
difference.
Exactly. So for those people that have been on the yo-yo of the on again, off
Hmm.
again roller coaster of dieting, what would you start by telling them that is like a game changer that they should be doing differently from
Hmm.
the get-go, like something that they definitely haven't been doing that they need to be doing?
First and foremost is understand why they want to change. A deeper level of I just want to look good or feel good, right? That
Yes.
doesn't necessarily stick very long, right? You get through that first week or two of excitement, just like a New Year's resolution, and you fade because there's no strong enough why. I had one lady, I remember, she was 62. She wanted to change to be there for her grandkids. That was a very solid rock that she could
Huge.
stand on, and it was immovable, and we were able to leverage that. But if she just was like, oh, I just want to lose 5 pounds, is this important to you? So we have to think about number one is why. Then we're going to go back on all the things that I've been saying is what is your education, your understanding of nutrition? Because if you are struggling time and again about losing weight, you're taking unfortunately, the wrong approach in this process that is creating the current situation that you've done, whether it's cutting calories a lot, the excessive movement, you just are eating the cabbage diet or something like that, right? The Slim Fast drink Herbalife. I
Yeah.
have 2 shakes and a sensible dinner. Okay, I guess that's one way to do it, but it's maybe not the best. So we have to leverage education, understanding some of the things that we talked about already. Basics, I pointed out, the 4 pillars of sleep. We already talked about that. We need good, at least 7 or 8 or more. We need water. We talked about that. We need movement. We talked about that. 10K steps, 2, 3 workouts a week. And then we talk about nutrition, of eating an appropriate amount of calories, not excessively low, and having balanced meals of whole foods, healthy combinations. And that's where the gap lies is one, people aren't consistent with doing those on repeat. It gets boring if you're the most successful people are the most boring, and not in a bad way. Today I biked with my son. We biked 25 miles. I worked out with my
Nice.
buddy the other day. I went running with my son again. He's almost 16 and he's into some endurance training, so it's really easy to just join him now. But I was doing physical exercise with other people in my busy schedule, which brought me joy, connection, and a lot of fulfillment there. So it wasn't hard to do, but it was a repetitive. Oh, how many times you work out this week? Well, I worked out about 6 or something. And we're like, oh, isn't that a lot? I don't know. I was just hanging out with my buddies and my son. To me, no, that's not hard. So those are the 4 pillars that are going to allow for you to have a lot of success. And if you're not educated or understanding, then we need to find science-backed information. We need to not find influencers. We need to find real people that know these things and that can teach you how to do it. And you might need more support and accountability. And we talked about, say, hanging out with friends and having berries. I would hope that your social circle is perfectly fine with you having berries and not going to chastise you about doing that, because then maybe you are in the wrong social circle, or you should be doing different activities with those people so that you do not put yourself in those situations every single
Mhm.
time they're pressuring you to do the cheesecake at Cheesecake Factory. And you're just like, I don't want to eat my day's calories in one thing of cheesecake. So we have a lot of social things that can go and come up there, your support system. So consistency around doing the right types of things with education and application is going to be always the thing. And you have to do it for a long time. Successful people in any area of life do things, the boring, repetitive things, for a long
Yeah.
time. Even say my relationship with my wife. I've known her for 30 years and we've been married 19. Every day is the best day, right? We're humans and sometimes we have more energy than not. And one might be a little grumpier. Someone did something, not, but there's certain things that have to happen in the day to continue to foster and connect that relationship, from I love you, from physical touch, just even a hug or a kiss on the cheek or something, affirmations of sharing that your partner or spouse did something that was good. Those are going to be the basics that if someone says, "Hey, how did you have a marriage or relationship so long?" Well, I just treated the other person with respect, love, kindness, tried to bring joy, tried to do things for them and would go out of my way to do that and foster this energy exchange, this relationship here, and not just take, because that's what a lot of people do in relationships. They just take, or in the nutrition thing, you're just taking. You're taking and robbing the body. You're not giving it the nutrition, not giving it the love, not giving it the positivity or the self encouragement to just go walk, even if you don't want to.
Yeah.
As an example, and all the other stuff too.
Yeah. I mean, the camaraderie is a huge thing, and having your why,
Yeah.
your deeper why.
Yeah.
Because aesthetics, it means a lot to some people, but when you think about, I want to be able to play with my grandchildren, I want to meet my great-grandchildren, because I got to meet my great-grandma and spend time with her, and we were so similar, and it was just such a lovely relationship.
That's
that I was like,
awesome.
I want to be a great-grandma and an active one at that. So I'm setting my body up for that success as I go.
Yes.
Instead of as I'm dissatisfied, then I'm going to make the changes.
Right.
And what you were saying about resistance from friends is very interesting, because I have observed that resistance, but in every case, it's not because they're mad that you're doing it. It's because they're mad at themselves that they're not. And when you put them in that...
Right. Mm-hmm. They're good. Yep. Yes. Yeah. Yep. Well, also, even that last phrase, we do have to be conscious and careful about that, because not everybody wants the same things. As a coach, I always align with what is successful for the client. They define what success is, and I help them reach that goal. That's the agreement that we do together, because I could say, oh, you want to lose 50 pounds, and they're happy losing 30. But if I'm coming at them like, why are we losing 20 more pounds? That's going to turn them off pretty quick. But like, man, this guy just went weird on me. We had so much success. I was having a great time, and he kept pushing me so hard, and I just said, dude, I'm good. I feel so happy, right? They're saying so many positive things about how they feel and look and what they're doing, and just like, okay, well, we need to lose 10 more. And it's just creates friction. But with social relationships, one of the things I always coach on is the people don't see what you do every day, right? Most people never know what you do behind doors, right? And there's a lot of change from seeing one person, even a 1 week time frame or a 4 week time frame of a lot of life can happen, and choices and decisions can be happening in a way that you always have to reintroduce yourself as the newest version, because they're only going off of the last time they see you, or the collective of who you have portrayed yourself as a certain identity even years ago, if it's a long-term relationship. So all of a sudden, like, what? We always hung out. We always went Saturday night hanging and whatever and else. And now there's friction in the relationship because you changed on them and they're questioning what's going on. And if you would have just had a conversation and continual conversation about why taking better care of yourself is important to you, then you could lead. You can pull that person into wanting to do that more if they understand what you're doing. And at first off, they're taken back. Where'd my friend go? Who's this weird version of this person that I don't understand anymore, right? And you're causing a lot of challenge for yourself then by going about it that way. That would not be the best way to go about relationships. And then also changes. The amount of whoever I hung out in high school, I literally hang out with 3 people: my wife, my buddy Dan, and Leo. Those are the only people I hang out with, because life had changed in different situations. Those 2 guys, they have 4 or 5 kids each too. I have 4. We're busy. So we have to find different ways to connect through exercise, as an example. So I just want to throw that out there of you have to always communicate who you are becoming to the person that you are close with, because then they can adapt or they can choose not to. And then you know where to categorize this relationship. It's okay to a close relationship turns into acquaintance relationship over time. That's okay. Or vice versa. An acquaintance turns into a thing. Wow, Samantha, you're always motivating me. You always are. You never pick the dessert. And I'm inspired because I always fall for it and I don't feel good afterwards. And I wish I could have your willpower. And then you just say, well, it's not willpower. I just don't want to eat it. And I don't feel good after I eat that stuff. I just chosen to stop doing that. Yes. Right. No, you don't. Yeah. Yeah. I have a weekly check-in sheet that I always have my clients turn in to me before we communicate and connect. And there's some important things. Am I making body progress? Because usually people are coming to me for fat loss most of the time. The digestive issues, other health concerns. I have 2 people that are dealing with cancer right now. So, or others that are trying to race I've got a guy that's trying to do a 24-hour mountain bike race out in Utah. Other people are doing a marathon or a little less. So it varies quite widely. I feel like a Swiss Army knife, to be honest. Like, all right, who am I talking to this time? Because I've just had that much experience. So body progress, 2 habits. Am I working on 2 positive habits? Am I calorie aware, right? No matter if you count calories or not, it doesn't matter, but you still have to be aware of how much calories are in that food that you're eating. Am I intentional when I'm eating socially? I go out, am I going to have dessert tonight? Or am I going to have berries as an example using yours? That's important to know so you can structure your day differently. Oh, we're going to this one restaurant and then we're going to go after and go to the best ice cream place around. I definitely want a small cone of that flavor. I've had ice cream in basically all 50 states because my kids demand it. Like, hey, we haven't had ice cream in this state yet. Like, all right, let's go find one. Side note, I always try a different flavor. Always. I don't just have say cookies and cream. I always go for a unique flavor. One of the recent ones was last summer we did in Cape Cod. I got ginger ice cream. And I saw it. So I like ginger. It's like, this will be interesting. Or there's another one that had a jalapeno cherry in it. There's so many different flavors. So side note, so we go back to the list. Am I intentional and social? Am I moving enough? And if you listen to these phrases that I'm saying, it's not a specific amount because every person's different and we have to quantify what their needs are per individual to help them reach whatever their individual goals are. Am I focused on the most important tasks? That's so important to just moving your life along and feeling more fulfilled and productive as well. So it could fall under the health and fitness perspective, or it could be something big rock that you need to move in your life to be able to feel better. Example being clutter. A lot, especially some of my female clients, if there's too much clutter, oh yeah, you totally can. I feel it through the phone. It's like, oh, we need a good clean out, don't we? And we need to go drop some things off at Goodwill or unload them on Facebook Marketplace, and then and that could be a task that I assign someone because it's more than just nutrition or fitness. It's all these other life things, time management, stress management, decluttering your house, and you don't realize that's what's holding you back because every time you walk into your house, it feels dirty, unorganized. The front or the back entrance is just everyone's dropping grounds, and you're frustrated every time you enter your house, so you can't get that feng shui or just that ease of walking into home. And that might be something that we need to focus on as a most important task for you to clear that space out to feel at ease so that then it's not subconsciously bothering you every single day. And if you just spend 15 minutes, you'll feel better all week long instead of just nobody picks up after themselves. Yes, I'm in a house full of 4 kids. It's pulling nails to do chores on a regular basis. Has anyone done this thing? And my one son, my third son, Maxwell, he just disappears when he knows it's chore time. You just can't find him because he doesn't want to do them, and nobody does. But I said, hey, you have actions and you have consequences. If you choose not to do this, there's consequences on the other end that you won't like more than the 5-10 minutes of thing that everyone in the house needs to do. So there you go. There's a bunch of different phrases of things that people can do to better themselves with health, nutrition, metabolism. Yes, 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 yeah, yeah, yes, yeah, yep. Walk and talk. I do a lot of phone calls and I'm just strolling up and down my driveway, or I'm doing circles in here when it's raining outside. I'm just pacing to burn calories because I like moving and I think clearly. Right. That is a 30-year problem in the course of our human existence, right? 30 to 50-year problem. And every other, I almost guarantee every other century would have happily traded places with where we're at in life, right? Because we have it quite easy, and the ease is actually causing a lot of complexity and challenge for us as humans because we were designed to move, not sit. Right. And do we want to evolve to a sedentary lifestyle? Yep. Yes. Yes. I love it. I hope so. Yeah. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate our time together. And hopefully someone wrote something down, please, for the love. Drop it in the comments. What was the biggest takeaway here? Yes, yes. And speaking of that weekly check-in sheet, I have it so I can send it over. You put it in show notes for people to jump on and get it. You literally print it off and you check the boxes. There's a 0, 1, 2, or 3, and it's not paying attention to it, maybe, and yes, and nailing it. So there's a no awareness to nailing it is the rating system on it. So so yeah, I'll share that too. So people, yes, we do. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, at Coach Brian Parana on the socials, and I help people improve their health, their fitness, ultimately their lifestyle to make it sustainable. And let's get out of this rat race of I've lost 90 pounds. It took 4 different times, but I still weigh more than I ever have. That's not it. You're doing something wrong, unfortunately. So thanks so much, Samantha. Yep. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Brian, for coming out and sharing your wisdom and your techniques today. I love how you connect the science of physiology with the art of living well, because health isn't just about what we do. It's also about who we become along the way. And that's what makes it sustainable, fully embodying this journey. If you're listening and you want to hear more from Brian, all of his information is in the show notes. And if this episode gave you an aha moment, please share it with somebody you care about. Until next time, keep showing up for your future self, because every choice you make today shapes the life you live tomorrow. I'm Sammy Stoltz, and keep shining. I want to take a quick moment to share something that I've been pouring my heart and my time into. It's an app called Epitome. Think of it as your one-stop shop for wellness, not just another app with tips or trackers, but a full dashboard for your best life. Inside, you'll find curriculum, pre-recorded content you can return to anytime, journaling tools, and even AI-mediated coaching that grows with you and helps you schedule all of this self-care into your daily life. It brings together the habit and ritual creation, integrated calendaring, and mindset practices all in one place. My vision is simple. I don't want you juggling 5 different apps and a dozen notebooks just to stay on track. Epitome is designed to be a central hub that ensures you don't just set wellness goals, you live them. It's everything you need to stick with the practices that transform you into the best version of yourself, curated, cohesive, and right at your fingertips. So keep listening as this dream unfolds, because soon you'll be one of the first to test it. Thank you.